While the players are shuffling their decks, I'm just going to quickly apologize for the delay of Game 2. I ended up getting sick last week and I could not use my voice for the entire week, so I apologize for the delay. But we're going to be now heading into Game 2 of the Brussels Finals with my commentary added. And the reason why I'm commentating, because you didn't watch Game 1, is because there's copyrighted music playing in the background and I can't have that on my channel. So, now players are just mulliganing, drawing into their hands of 5. And yeah, they're just deciding who's going to go first, so they're going to roll a dice. The Link Sugar player, I think, got a lower roll, so it's going to be the Time Leap first turn, and it appears he doesn't have a grade 3 in hand, at least not for the moment. So he rides into the Takeaway, I believe, is the promo, and the Link Sugar player looks almost like a top decks the Perfect Guard, so that's definitely a fortunate series of events for him. And he doesn't get anything on the drive check, so he passes turn. And so History Maker comes out and just swings for 9, and it's gonna be just one attack on this turn. Guards with a 10 and gets the crit, but doesn't pass because he's on 16 defense. So very damage-less game so far. So both players have avoided their first deals of damage, I guess, from the first turn. So he rides into the Arrestor Messiah, I believe it's called now, or Awaking Messiah, sorry, and then attacks with the Lady Butler. He blocks that one, and he's going to attack with the Awaking for 14 to the 9, and he gets to draw. So not a crit, but here goes the first damage, and it's the G Perfect Guard for Gear Chronicle. Draws for turn, and does he have the grade 3? Ah, he has the Bali. Okay, so he has the Bali, which is not something we see very often, and we're not going to be seeing him anymore after the Clan Booster hits. So he attacks for 12 with the Melem, which is definitely a good move. Like, even though he can't use Melem yet because it doesn't have GB1, it's still a fine move. So he protects the Melem with the draw trigger, and he attacks with the Bali on the Lady Battler to get rid of her and the additional attacks. So it's gonna be 11 on 9. Let's see if he drops a 10k shield to protect her. So he's making his mind up, thinking very hard, it seems. So this is pretty important because obviously if he loses it, it could reduce the amount of pressure it does every turn. So he protects it. It's going to be 2 to pass, and let's see if he can get it. No, that's not going to pass. So he gets a heal, which is alright because, I mean, he has 1 damage compared to 0, so they're both back on 0 now. So this game will take a while, by the way. Spoiler alert, it's going to be at least 31 minutes, which you've probably already seen from the video, but even I got surprised. But yeah, it's going to be a long game, so my throat's going to die. And here comes Freezeray. So Freezeray, in case you didn't see, Game 1 is a pretty amazing card in this format because it's able to stop, well, kind of stop time leaps, multi-attacks by basically every time it takes the damage it locks something on the opponent's turn, so it reduces the amount of attacks they can do. So it does hinder time leap, but it doesn't kill them completely. So he's going to be striding, and let's see which of his many strides he's going to go into. So let's see, will it be, I don't actually remember. It's going to be just the normal Trial Deck Messiah, so alright. And yeah, I wonder why he runs that. I didn't have time to ask him. I didn't have time to do interviews after the games, but yeah, so he goes into that, and he'll use, and let's see, so what did he lock that from actually? Oh, he had a counterblast, my bad. What was that in his hand? I'm kind of conflicted right now, but anyway. Okay, so he attacks, gets the draw, so he puts the power on the Lady Battler, gets nothing and nothing, so, and he gets the lock from the skill and unlocks the Neon Messiah. Neon Messiah goes in the soul, and he gets to search for a grade 3 Messiah. So, shuffles his deck. And you can see a little bit of another camera there down in the bottom, so it's not too much to say while they're shuffling, so I'm just gonna let that go through. And he attacks with the Lady Battler, who now has 14k power, I believe. And yeah, draws for turn, Melem isn't there anymore, and he's gonna stride with the Caliboom and the Upstream, so he doesn't have a grade 3 or a stride 4, he's gonna have to drop 2 grade 2s, but he's still on 1 damage, so it's not too bad. Goes into the Metallica Phoenix, so let's see how this goes, because the Freezeray player still doesn't have any damage, which is pretty insane. And there we go, Bali's effect is gonna come out to bring the Chrono Jet into the heart in just a moment. So it goes on the bottom of the deck, and there goes the Chrono Jet. And let's see what else he's gonna call this turn. So he has a TikTok in hand, he has a Melem in hand, so Yeah, there goes the Melem, and let's see if the TikTok will come down as well. Although chances are it could get locked, so that's a risk he's gonna have to basically decide on. Because his hand isn't too big right now, so we'll see what he decides to go for right here. So, let's see. Definitely think about dropping the Heart Thump Worker, because obviously it's soul, it's a draw, it's power, so let's see what he's gonna go for on this turn. He just doesn't go for anything else, just goes with the 11 with the Melem on the Freezeray, because I do understand that type of thinking, because I mean it's gonna get locked anyway, so considering he's at 0 damage, like basically the whole field could get locked. So he gets a critical, so power on the Freezeray and the Melem gets locked, but because we clarified this ruling in the first game, Melem can still use her effect to search out the grade 0, but she gets locked in exchange. So let's see, so he searches out the Urwatar and he's going to use Upstream's effect to time leap the Urwatar, and he's going to get some grade 1, most likely a Melem, I would assume, or a GG, but I think he's more inclined for the GG. He's going to go for the GG, and then he's going to be able to use Urwatar to get an additional card in hand as well. So let's see where he goes with this. Alright, so Urwatar goes to the bottom, he draws 2, and he's going to have to put 1 card. Will it be the TikTok? Yep, he's going to put the TikTok back to the deck. So that's an alright play, I think, because now we can search out the TikToks with the Melems. And the Soul Blast 2 for GG skill to draw a card. Yep, there we go. And he's attacking with a 26 from the upstream on the Freezeray Messiah. So he perfect guards that, no risk taken, and there's not that much left to lock either, so there's no real point in taking damage now. So he gets a draw, he gets a perfect guard, and he gets a history maker, and that history maker will definitely come in handy in the following turns. Gets to unlock, he's not playing as Chaos, so whatever gets locked is going to stay on the field regardless, and GG goes back to the deck after being time leaped. So moving on to the Freezeray turn, let's see what series of events is going to unfold now. So he might be considering, although I wouldn't ride into the alter ego yet, he's only on 1 damage, so he can still use Freezeray for quite a while, so it's worth it to stride, yeah. So he's just going to stride. Let's see what he's going to stride into. He goes into the Big Crunch, so goodbye to the Melem column. Now that's a pretty threatening move, simply because like that column is not going to get unlocked for a long while. So definitely very threatening and a good play coming through from the Freezeray player. And let's see what his next move will be, because he does have about 5 cards in hand, I believe. He has the heavy material that he could drop down for some extra cards in hand, but let's see what he decides to do. It's only an 8k, so it's not going to be swinging for big numbers unless he drops a booster behind it. So let's see where he goes with that. Thinking, although he doesn't have any counterblast, he just drops the draw trigger, so he's going to use it to be basically a lock fodder for the Lady Battler, and he swings with a 26 on the Chronojet. His first check, Chameleon, second check, Perfect Guard, third check, Alter Ego, so nothing there, and he takes 1 damage, the Heart Thump Worker, and it's not gonna let the Lady Battler hit. Gets his unlock, and now the 2 Omega locks from the Big Crunch are still active, so he's gonna be sitting there with 1 column down. And now there's a lot of cards in the Time Leap player's hand, and that's no surprise to anyone that has watched Time Leap being played before. So let's see which stride he's going to go for. It's looking like he's thinking about another Metallica Phoenix, and he does go for it. So it's going to be another turn of combos, because I believe he has another Melem in hand, or at least an upstream. No, there's no Melem, so he's probably going to drop the Melem and poke for 11 again. He has a history maker as well, but there's no real chance to use him now. So he's going to go with the 11 with the Melem, and let's see what the Freezeray player decides to go with. So he's thinking, because the 11 is definitely blockable, but at the same time, if he doesn't take it, then you won't be able to lock the Melem, and that's definitely a worthy thing. So he blocks it, so Melem's going to search out for an Urwatar most likely. There it is. And then upstream, flips up the Sabreeze, just like last game. Time leaps to Urwatar, goes into another Melem, and swings for 26. So let's see, 26 on the 10k Vanguard, and he uses Urwatar's skill as well to draw 2 and put 1 back to deck, so that's going to occur before his drive check. So he's thinking about the grade 3, but he might be thinking about a trigger instead, because, yep, looks like he puts like the heart thump, because that's obviously going to, you know, putting my crits is always going to be pretty threatening, so let's see what that gets him. It's going to slam into the Perfect Guard regardless. There's a Chrono Jet, a Stride Fodder, and a Calibum, so the crit does stay in the deck, but that's a lot of cards in his hand. It's definitely a good thing. So attacks with the Melon, probably going to go into a GG. I'm not sure if he has enough Soul, but okay, so takes the damage and locks the Melon just like last time, but Melon can still search out for a TikTok, so that's fine as well, because I guess he doesn't have any Soul left for GG, so he can't do anything, but he wouldn't be able to do anything regardless because he doesn't have any wasted time leap left, so that was just me being stupid. But yes, the Omega Locks go back to the locks and he passes turn, so let's see what's gonna go down now. I still don't think it's time to go for the Alter Ego, but nope, he does. Okay, so even though he's at 2 damage, he goes for the Alter Ego, but that does permit him to use stuff like Transel's. So let's see, he has a Stride Fodder, and he strides. Let's see what he's gonna choose to stride into. Let's see, it looks like it might be just an Amnesty, but I don't think he has the right hand for the combos he could do with Amnesty. So let's see, but it does have the Counterblast to make some combos, but let's see where he goes with it. Could it be the Transel's? Oh no, it's just gonna be the Exilix. So does he actually have any Amnesties face up? I don't think so. Okay, he uses Alter Ego skill to lock his starter and lock the Melon, so it's gonna stay locked regardless. And let's see what he does next. He calls the Lizard, or Chameleon, sorry. Well, still Lizard, but so he has the 16k column there, but he's gonna use a skill to lock it, so never mind. But he gets the Unflip instead, which is definitely something to treasure. There's the Arrestor Messiah. It's going to swing for 9. So it's going to be... yeah, he blocks that one. And he uses skill to lock it, and he locks the TikTok. So there's a full field lock going on the Time Leaps field right now. So next stage is looking pretty likely to next turn. Maybe a Colossus. And he uses the Exilix skill to unflip unlock all his units, and by the skill of the Chameleon, he also unflips 1 damage. Now there's just one problem I have with that, because I believe the Exilix shouldn't actually have been used there, because I don't think he has another Amnesty face up, because he didn't stride it earlier. So because for Exilix you have to have first an Amnesty face up, and then you have to flip another Amnesty face up to use a skill. So he drive checks 3 things and doesn't get a single trigger, but I am a little bit iffy about that Exilix play. As far as I'm concerned, I don't think it's actually a legal play, but correct me if I'm wrong. So yeah, so he's basically having applied the power boost from Exilix that normally would be there. I'm kind of paranoid that I'm making a mistake here, but I believe that he did not have any Amnesties face up earlier. So okay, he's gonna G-Guard into the Uluru, so returning 2 cards from his drop zone to his deck, which being the Uluru and the Perfect Guard, which are both definitely good picks. So he's sitting at 2 damage against 2 damage, so still this is going to be a long fight for sure. And there's a fully locked field, which is definitely a bit of a hindrance, but let's see how it goes. So he's going to stride with the Bali, and let's see if he goes for the he goes for the Revolution, which is definitely a good play, because he gets to basically just rewind the entire field. So and yeah, just letting his opponent read the card, just to, you know, get rid of all confusion. And let's see where it goes from there. So, and yeah, nothing really goes on in his field because he essentially doesn't have a field because everything's locked. And let's see. So he has no field now, which is definitely a big hindrance. So he doesn't guard it. Caliboom, a heal, so he goes down to 1. And a crit, so it's going to put him up to 4. And there's a Freezeray and a Stride Fodder. So now 4 to 1, which is definitely pretty scary. He gets to Soul Blast 4 to draw 4 for all the unlocks. And that's definitely going to be pretty threatening. So let's see what he goes for next. So he's still going to... I'm pretty sure he's still going to keep sitting on the Alter Ego now for the rest of the game. Because... oh, there's the other grid 3 that he plays. And... okay, it goes into the Transel's Messiah. So Transel's essentially locks all cards that are not locked, and then any cards that were not locked by that effect get unlocked. So it's kind of like lock everything that isn't locked and unlock anything that is locked. So he's in a perfect situation right now where he has nothing on his field to use it, so it's definitely a good call. And let's see where he takes it from now. Calls a grade 1, calls another grade 1, and those are pretty important when you're sitting on Freezeray, because they kind of let you power up a bit more on the opponent's turn. So let's see where he goes with that. So he has 2 of them on the field now. He calls the Messiah crit, but he still needs a front row for that field. Otherwise it's not going to be doing too much. There's a heavy material coming through, and he's going to use the effect. And Jay's just going to read the effect since he doesn't actually remember what it was. So he uses the effect to lock one, and right, so he gets his cards in hand. Sorry, just space out for a second. But yeah, he gets his cards in hand and then uses the effect. And let's see, okay. Camera gets a little bit shaky over here because I was kind of repositioning, because the other camera was run out of battery, so I didn't have to be in an awkward position. And let's see. So the shakiness should stop pretty soon, but kind of having the camera in hand for almost an hour does get pretty tiring in that position. So okay, he drive checks, he gets a heal and a stride fodder, so he goes down to 3, which is, there's a lot of heals coming through this game. And third check, nothing there, and he has a history maker on his damage check. So that should be a 20k column, I believe. Oh no, 23, my bad. So let's see where that takes us. Okay, so he guards it with 26. Still has a lot of cards in hand, but the field is staying locked. So definitely slowing down the time leap turns by a big margin, but he made a lot of advantage during the earlier turns, so he can kind of stay in the game for quite a while. Now, he's going to stride. Let's see what he does to stride in. Oh, it's the Colossus. We don't see that very often these days, but it's still very nice to see it. And he's going to be able to do some guard restriction shenanigans with the stride. So attacks with 26, use the effect to put the grade 1 and spins the grade 1 in his field as well. So it's 26 with no grade 1s, and yeah, so there we have our grade restriction. He's on 3. He could potentially take it, but at the same time I don't think it's worth the risk, so he's going to G-guard it, use the Maxwell. He plays Messiah, so Maxwell is a pretty good call, and he's going to be able to use the other grade 1 consecutively to power up some more. So he's sitting at, I believe it's 2 to pass right now, if I'm not mistaken. It should be at 2 to pass right now, but I feel that he's probably going to want to put it up to 3 to pass just because it's the only attack of the turn, so you don't really want to risk getting triple crit sacked. And the footage does phase out over there because I had to cut off due to the simple fact that my camera was starting to overheat after all this time, and it's going to happen once more fairly soon, I think, so don't panic. The only thing that you miss out through the next cut will be I think a crit, but we'll get to there eventually. This is a pretty long game. We're over halfway, but he's still thinking if he wants to make it a 3 to pass. It's a no pass. Okay, so no pass, and there's a crit, there's a heal, and yeah, so that could have been, if it was just a 2 to pass, that could have gotten very ugly. So definitely a good call, definitely worth defending in that situation because it could have gotten very ugly. So let's see where the game progresses from here. So now the time leap field is completely unlocked. Jay's in a pretty good position, still a lot of cards in hand, got a full field, 2 melons, 2 TikToks. That's definitely something you want to see as a time leap player. While okay, let's see, he's gonna stride. No, he's gonna ride. Okay, so he's out of soul, so obviously he doesn't need to stride. Okay, he has a stride fodder, so it's not too bad, but does decrease his overall chances for striding. He goes into the Amnesty, and I'm pretty sure that's the first Amnesty of the game, just saying. And he uses the alter ego skill to lock one of his riggers, to lock one of the melems. And let's see if he's gonna be locking any of the other units. Maybe he'll call an arrestor to lock some more, and then maybe call the other chameleon in his hands to lock another one. Yeah, he does that. So he's gonna use the arrestor to lock the chameleon, and then be able to lock maybe a TikTok or another melem. Most likely the melem, I would assume. but let's see where that's gonna go. So he only has to drop a 5k to guard this one, so let's see what he's gonna drop. He drops the Stride Fodder, so he must have a lot of those in hand because he's gone through quite a few of them already, so let's see what he goes for next. Yeah, he's gonna lock the TikTok, but there's still a TikTok and a Melem on the field, so that is pretty alarming with Jade only being at 2 damage. Let's see, Canvas 1 for the Amnesty skill to unlock his entire field, and he's gonna be getting +3 for each. And if he unlocked 4, then he's getting a plus 16 from that. So he also got the +5 from the no, he just perfect guards it. So let's never mind the maths for now, not confuse my brain anymore than I already am. But okay, so the perfect guard comes down, can drop the critical for it, which he already revealed earlier through a drive check, so it's nothing too big. And yeah, he reveals that he had another perfect guard in the drop zone, so you get unflip damage, which is definitely something you want to do in that position, especially when you're sitting at 2 damage only. So he gets the heal, so we're going back down to 2 damage. Like, this game is really taking a long time. I'm not sure if Nordin has already gone through all his heals, but I feel that he has. Alright, so let's see, he's going to be swinging with just a 15, I think, so probably on the Melem. Yeah, he hits the Melem, and he just needs to drop a 10k to protect her. I don't think he has any more, so it's definitely worth protecting. He drops the Orbitar for it, or the Heart Thump, or he's going to check how many more he maybe has left in the deck, because if he has an upstream, that could be fine, but no, he's just going to guard it with the Orbitar, which is definitely a good call. This should be just 13, probably also on the Melem. Yeah, just going to keep bullying the Melem, and she's going to go down this time. I guess he could have protected her in that case, but I also understand why he wouldn't. So now he has a lot more field space left for him, and he's also got the upstream in there, and the Freezeray not being on the field anymore is definitely a good thing as well. Camera gets a little bit shaky, but not for too long. And let's see, he's gonna stride, and he goes for the next stage. So finally, the next stage coming through. This is gonna be a pretty scary turn, because nobody wants to mess with next stage, and I think the upstream is coming through. Yeah, so he goes with the upstream because I'm pretty sure he saw that he has another Melem left in deck, and he drops the Heart Thump, which is going to be more threatening after the next stage has already passed its baton to the Chronojet. So let's see, hits for the 26 with his next stage, and let's see, he doesn't guard it, so he's only on 2. He can always take it. There's a GG, there's a heal. He heals to 1, which is, yeah. There's the upstream. He goes to 3, gets a critical. So he's on 16k power with his alter ego. So now the next stage goes bye-bye. And I think he has to, yeah, he has to flip the other next stage face up as well. I think he forgot that, but never mind. Judges didn't say anything about it, so it's all good. And so now he's back to the Chronojet, and he discards the cards for the next stage's cost. So there goes the TikTok, upstream, and GG. And let's see, will he attack with the upstream first? And boosted by the Heart Thump. So let's see. Obviously the Heart Thump is going to go into the Chronojet Soul pretty soon to go for 21k swing with a guard restrict. So let's see how that goes. But yeah. Yeah, no, Dean really has to think about this because he's still got some attacks coming. The upstream's going to change into a Mela most likely, and the Mela is probably going to get a time leaped into, well, going to get time leaped by TikTok. Oh no, he's using TikTok on the upstream, which is also fine, but he can also, I believe he can get both a Melem and, oh, he decides not to, he just said in the game that he decides not to search for grade 1. So I guess he doesn't actually have a Melem left, I'm assuming. Or he just wanted to have more. Well, the number's the same, so not too sure. But anyway, he goes for the Chronojet skill, draws the card. He's on 21k with the guard restrict. And he's gonna, then Nordin is gonna G-guard. Most likely with the Maxwell. Yeah, so Maxwell comes through. And we get a little chain of effects going there. So let's see, they're doing some calculations. And 29 on in terms of, oh no, it should be no pass now. So okay, guess the crit on the Chrono Jet, stand on the Chrono Jet. So just to check, so 21k with a crit. There's probably a G-Guard coming through. He put his Maxwell to the drop zone as well, which is kind of a mistake. So I think somebody points it out at some point soon. Let's. Alright, true. I was just listening to what they were saying in the game, and he was saying 21, and he guarded with a 5k, and he was like, oh, like, I forgot that he got a trigger and also the power from the grade 1. I believe his Maxwell is still in the drop zone, which is a bit worrisome, but hopefully somebody points that out, but chances are they won't. But regardless, he strides and doesn't notice the Maxwell. Oh, it kind of hurts to see, but I can understand in the pressure of the match, it definitely does happen. So use the alter ego to lock the crit and lock the melon, which is, you know, a standard play. You can expect that. There come the 2 arresters, which are going to lock the TikTok and what's that in the back row? Oh, that's an upstream. Okay, so he's going to take it from the arrestor, and there goes the TikTok. So he was hoping for damage trigger, so he wouldn't have to take the other arrestor, but alas. So let's see, he's gonna, and Jay is asking if you can look at Nordin's drop zone, so just to check, obviously for triggers he's on 2 damage. This could get pretty, like you could take this, and then, you know, it depends how risky the Amnesty would get, but I assume you won't take this, but you could take the Amnesty, but since Amnesty's coming with a crit, it's only getting more dangerous, so let's see where this goes. So he's gonna take it, actually taking the arrestor, and the arrestor's gonna lock the upstream. So let's see. Amnesty attacks, counter S1, unflip the field, and gets a plus 3k for each. So we're looking at a plus 15. So it should be on 46 now, because also from the plus 5k from the alter ego. And yeah, with an additional crit, he G-guards. I believe he'll just go for the Melem. I mean, not the Melem, the Uluru. Yeah, Uluru to put back the heal, and most likely a Perfect Guard or a Melem. No, just a Perfect Guard. Okay, because I think he ran out of Melems, but I'm not too sure. But yeah, so you put those back, and his deck is really running low now. But luckily, he can keep returning cards, and we get a little transition there. So he G-guarded with another Melem, and he dropped the Orbitar as well, and so far Nordin has gotten a crit, so I had to pause there because my camera just overheated and I couldn't actually open it back up for a few minutes because it just was way too hot. So he gets another crit. I think he put the first one on the side, so yeah, and that that G-Guard, the Link Joker G-Guard from earlier, is still in the drop zone. But okay, see, this should be a 26. I believe it's 26 with crit 2. I think it's crit 2. Oh, yeah, he comes to realize that it's crit 3, so he has to guard it no matter what. So he drops the 31k damage, and he announces that he takes the next damage, so just because he did look at it, so it would be kind of bad if he didn't take it now. So yeah, that's just kind of to erase all worries, but the judges didn't say anything about it, so it should be fine. But I'm sure there'll be some viewers at home who will get kind of upset about that. But regardless, we're heading back into Jay's turn with 3 lock cards on the field, and I believe he's got 4 cards in hand, maybe 3, but definitely not many. It's not something I'm used to. Oh, there was 3, so definitely not something I'm used to seeing in terms of time leap. So goes into the Fate Rider, which we definitely don't see that much. Like I already said that we don't see Colossus that much. We only see Revolution in situations, but Fate Rider is also a pretty rare strike target. But let's see what he chooses to do. So uses Fate Rider's effect to call the... Yeah, okay. So yeah, they're just reading over Fate Rider's skill just to get rid of any kind of worries and stuff like that. So now Fate Rider is actually gonna make another debate happen, I think, because there's a little bit of a misunderstanding, because Fate Rider, like when you read it the first time, it seems like he gives plus power for each face-up G unit in the G zone, but instead it's not like that. He actually gives that many units, I believe, or is it grade 1 units? Allow me to quickly check. Yeah, so he gives that many, chooses that many of your units as you have face up in your G zone, and they get plus 3k power each. So it's not that you just give plus 3k power to one unit as many face up G units as you have, it's rather that it's that many units as you have face up in your G zone. So obviously he has way more face up in the G zone than he has units, but so only one unit is going to get the plus 3k. So I'm kind of questioning this Fate Rider play. Maybe he's out of options, but I feel like he has another next stage, but they might be my just me being wrong in this case, but because I haven't taken a look at the deck list yet. But let's see what happens now. So he's G-guarded with a Maxwell. There's still another Maxwell in his drop zone. It's probably gonna, this one's gonna go to the drop zone as well. I wouldn't be too surprised. And let's see, so he guards with it, and he intercepts with the arrestor. There's a perfect guard on the drive check, a draw trigger onto the grade 1, and a heal trigger, so he goes back to 3. The heals in this game, I swear to God, just keep on coming. So this is going to be a 20, I believe. So yeah, he got 2 triggers on it, so the draw and the heal, and he blocks it with a 10. So that turn didn't really push out as many cards in hand. So back to Nordine, and yeah, so we're kind of heading into the last kind of swings of the game, because both players have very little amounts of cards in their decks, because we can see that just from looking at them, honestly. Maybe not so much in Jay's, but in Nordine you can definitely see there's not that many, and also not that many cards left in hand. So those last few combo turns are coming through right now, and let's see where they take the game. So will we be going to game 3, or is it gonna end in a 2-0 victory for Jay? Let's see. So he's gonna swing with the Amnesty already to unlock 3 and get the plus 9k power. And there comes the perfect guard, so the crit and the power are basically for null. And let's see what he drive checks. He gets nothing, a draw trigger, which is not exactly the best thing because he's very low on cards in hand. I'm not sure. I think he goes down to 1 now. I think he actually has 1 card left in hand, or 2. But if there's just 1, then Jay can just pass, and that's gonna be game. But if they can play, I guess they're gonna play it out regardless, just for good manners. But yeah, so that's game. He has 1 card left in deck, and Jay is your winner.